Public Media and the American Composers Forum, reminding you that all music was once new.
Hi friends, before I return you to the latest episode of First Cup, I want to help you with your Christmas gift shopping plans. Do you have someone special on your list who is hard to shop for? Or are they interested in unique, one-of-a-kind gift items? Then Wishing Stars Native Creations is your answer. My dear friend Chris Mayer has been making Native American jewelry for several years and is ready to help you give that special someone in your life a one-of-a-kind gift. Just go to www.facebook.com/Wishing Stars Native Creations. That's facebook.com/Wishing Stars Native Creations. It's all one word, Wishing Stars Native Creations. Go there today and find out how Chris can help you. She accepts several forms of payment too, including money orders and PayPal.
Take a look at celebrity birthdays for today, and before I run down the list of celebrity birthdays, if today is your birthday, happy birthday, and you share your birthday with these famous people. They include TV judge.
Other people have birthdays. Why are we treating yours like a funeral?
Balls, that ought to be lectured.
Very, very many happy reasons.
Take a look at celebrity birthdays for today, and before I run down the list of celebrity birthdays, if today is your birthday, happy birthday, and you share your birthday with these famous people. They include TV judge Judy Shenlin. Judge Judy, she is 71, and she looks every bit of 71, doesn't she? Actress Carrie Fisher is 57. Princess Leia is 57. And Kim Kardashian is 33. And we still don't know what the hell Kim Kardashian does, other than stays in the media way too much. And those are celebrity birthdays for this Monday. Take a look at today in history, and I have room for one passenger in the time machine. Yes, I know it's a DeLorean, but it is a time machine, so let me turn on the time circuits, and away we go. On this date in 1918, October 21st, 1918, Margaret B. Owen set a world speed record for typing world record of 170 words per minute. And that was in 1918, when a typewriter could rip your fingers off if you hit the wrong key, or hit the key wrong, as I should say. 170 words per minute? You know, the best I've ever done, I think it was 40 or 45. I think it was 45 in high school that I measured it. And that was on an electronic typewriter. But that was on this date in 1918. For more of Today in History, let's go to the Associated Press.
October 21st, 1879.
A coiling filament glowing within.
Put away the oil lamps and candles. Thomas Edison perfects a workable electric light at his laboratory in Menlo Park, New Jersey. 2001, a postal worker in Washington, D.C. dies from inhaled anthrax as officials begin testing thousands of postal employees. Another worker dies the following day, both among the 5 victims in America's anthrax scare just weeks after the September 11th attacks. 1805. Britain gained supremacy over the seas in the Battle of Trafalgar off the coast of Spain. That's where a British fleet led by Admiral Horatio Nelson defeats a joint French and Spanish fleet. Nelson is killed in the battle, but the victory foils Napoleon's plans to invade Britain. And 1956.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
Actress and author Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia in the Star Wars movies, is born in Los Angeles. Today in history, October 21st. Mike Gracia, The Associated Press.
This is Across Our Wide Missouri with Bob Pretty.
Several months earlier, Governor Jackson had fled from Jefferson City as General Lyon's troops moved upstream on the Missouri River. Now it was fall. A federally supported interim government had taken over in Jefferson City with Hamilton Gamble as governor. But those who'd been part of the Jackson government were still playing their roles. What was left of the legislature was about to meet in Neosho on the special call of the man they still regarded as their governor. But all they could do, really, was just play a role. We'll tell the story in a minute.
Hi friends, Joe Haffner here. Are you interested in buying, selling, trading, or renting a house? Or maybe you're in the market for buying or selling a car? Or perhaps selling or giving away clothes, furniture, or electronics? Well, I can help you out. Just email me, Joe, at Gunther'sHouseOfFriends@gmail.com. That's Gunther'sHouseOfFriends@gmail.com. Email me today with your item and or items, and together we'll come up with a creative way to buy, sell, trade, or rent any reasonable item or service that you want. Keep in mind, though, I don't deal with the exchange of firearms, alcohol items, drugs, or anything illegal or immoral. So send me an email today at Gunther'sHouseOfFriends@gmail.com.
About a week after the Battle of Lexington, Governor Jackson ordered the legislature into special session. He took the action although he was no longer governor, the state convention having declared his seat vacant. Furthermore, the legislature he called couldn't do anything official because it was no longer the lawmaking body of the state, but they met anyway, answering Jackson's proclamation, which charged federal authorities had unconstitutionally waged a ruthless war upon the people of the state of Missouri, murdering our citizens, destroying our property, and as far as in their power lay, desolating our land. War now exists, said the proclamation, between the state of Missouri and the federal government, and a state of war is incompatible with the continuance of our union with that government. General Sterling Price had his troops at Neosho to protect the legislature. Only 10 senators and 30 representatives showed up, hardly a quorum, but they passed an act that seceded from the Union. DeKalb County Representative Isaac Shambaugh wrote in January of 1862 that it need scarcely be added that all the pretended legislation at either place, speaking of Neosho and later Cassville, was a fraud, and not only upon the state but upon the government of the Confederate States as well as the United States. But a month later, the Confederacy welcomed Missouri into its fold. Shambaugh wrote the legislature met from day to day, adjourning without doing anything until the 28th, and then it heard a short message from Jackson recounting what the fugitive governor called outrageous acts committed by so-called brutal soldiery with the connivance of federal government officers. He said it would be futile to speak of preserving the mere paper bonds of union with a government whose licentious rulers have cut into shreds all other bonds between us. That same day, the legislature ratified a constitution for the provisional government of the CSA. But Union troops were approaching, and the legislature could no longer risk meeting in Neosho, and so the members decided to become a government on the move. A session was set for the 31st at Cassville. There the group set up an election procedure to send men to the Confederate Congress. The legislature then adjourned to meet at New Madrid in March of 1862, but it never met. Union General John Pope had brought federal troops toward the river defenses of New Madrid. Confederate General Meriwether Thompson, the famed swamp fox of the theater, tried to head him off so the lawmakers could meet. Pope did stay away from the town, but only a few members of the General Assembly showed up. Missouri's rebel legislature was effectively dead. The head of the rebel government, Caleb Jackson, himself would be dead 9 months later of stomach cancer. Eventually, the Confederate capital of Missouri was in Texas. But it was important to the Southerners that the rebel legislature take the steps it was taking, because, you see, had Jackson and Price through some miracle regained the upper hand in Missouri, and they had legitimate reason to think they might after successes at Lexington and Wilson's Creek, the actions of the House and Senate in Neosho could be confirmed by a regular legislature, and if that happened, Missouri would indeed be in the Confederacy. But it never happened, and the things that did occur at Neosho and Cassville represent only hopes never realized. They couldn't know it then, of course, although some suspected it, but the meeting of the rebel legislature was an exercise in futility. Not long after, the Confederacy was driven from Missouri and would never be able to get back to stay politically or militarily. But hope had to be maintained, and the rebels had to be ready if they ever should regain control of the state. That became possible when the Confederate legislature met on this date, October 21st, 1861.
Washington, I'm Janine Herbst. The Obama administration has launched what it calls a tech surge to fix problems plaguing the government's online health insurance markets. NPR's Scott Horsley reports the president insists that despite these problems, the health coverage offered through these markets is still a good product.
President Obama says there's no excuse for the poor consumer experience many people have had shopping for health insurance on the government's new internet marketplace. The president says no one's more frustrated than he is by those problems, but he stressed they are being fixed.
Experts from some of America's top private sector tech companies, who, by the way, have seen things like this happen before, they want it to work. They're reaching out. They're offering to send help.
Obama offered no deadline for fixing the website problems, but he did say consumers still have months to sign up for health coverage. The administration's also highlighting alternative ways consumers can shop for insurance, including by telephone and in person. Scott Horsley, NPR News, Washington.
A middle school student in Nevada used a semi-automatic weapon to kill a teacher and wound 2 other students at a school outside Reno. Police say the child then turned the gun on himself, killing himself. His name hasn't been released, and there is no known motive for the shooting. It happened this morning just before school started. Police say the 2 wounded children are expected to be okay. Both France and Mexico are angry over reports the U.S. National Security Agency eavesdropped on millions of private citizens' phone calls and intercepted emails. NPR's Eleanor Beardsley reports that U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry is in Paris and had to face questions.
Le Monde newspaper reported that the U.S. intercepted and recorded 70 million phone calls and texts during a 1-month period between December and January of last year. Foreign Minister Laurent Fabius called that type of intrusion in the private sphere between partners totally unacceptable. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry, on a scheduled visit to Paris Monday to talk about Syria, was put on the hot spot just as the spying furor broke.
Our goal is always to try to find the right balance between protecting the security and the privacy of our citizens.
The Mexican government condemned the alleged hacking of the email account of former President Felipe Calderón in 2010. Eleanor Beardsley, NPR News, Paris.
21 members of the Arizona National Guard have been indicted on charges they falsified records to get extra pay. Arizona Attorney General Tom Horne says 8 officers and 13 enlisted men and women are charged.
The colonel in charge used his position of authority to obtain this temporary duty pay for himself over $100,000 and also to help the 20 others do that.
Horne says those charged are accused of falsifying their records and using fake home addresses in order to get money meant for those traveling outside their regions. Wall Street mixed by the closing bell. The Dow down 7 points, the S&P 500 up just a fraction. This is NPR. The United States cut its energy-related carbon dioxide pollution by nearly 4% last year. The Department of Energy says it's the second biggest drop since 1990. Officials say that drop is because of warm winter weather, more efficient cars because of the new mileage requirement, and an ongoing shift from coal power to natural gas to produce electricity. A trial that could have dramatic repercussions for women seeking access to abortion in Texas began today in Austin. As NPR's Wade Goodwin reports, the trial revolves around new restrictions that could leave no abortion clinics in half the state.
The new laws require that all abortions in Texas take place in an ambulatory surgical center by a doctor who has admitting privileges at a nearby hospital. That could leave as few as 5 abortion clinics open in a state of 26 million, with no facilities at all west of Interstate 35, which runs down the center of the state. The new law also eliminates drug-induced abortions after 7 weeks. Texas Solicitor General Jonathan Mitchell argued to U.S. District Judge Lee Yackel that Planned Parenthood, which brought the suit, had no evidence the new restrictions would harm women or curtail access to abortion. Wade Goodwin, NPR News.
The manager of the Detroit Tigers is stepping down. Jim Leyland announced his decision today, 2 days after the Tigers were eliminated from the AL Championship Series by Boston in 6 games. The 68-year-old led the Tigers to the World Series twice in 8 years. He's been working under one-year contracts for the past couple of years.